Rising Tides, How the Outside Makes the Inside Better. This is show 25, and my name is Jean Gallagher. And we explore the importance of the outdoors and maintaining life balance. And through this series, we'll be talking to women business owners to understand their journey. We'll also be hearing from Lynn Schuessler-Williams, author, coach, in her segment for Rising Up. But first, today I'm excited to introduce Linda Bucher. Hi, Linda.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. So good to see you again. We'll talk about why it's again in just a second. So here's a little bit of background on Linda. Linda is an authentic, heart-centered master coach, mindset mentor, transformational speaker, author, and MBA. Her gift is lighting up the way for those who are excited about giving their gifts to the world. She loves helping them discover their path, balance their lives, and align their energy and gifts so that they can make their mark on the world. So welcome. Oh, I'm excited. And we talked last week. Thank you very much for having me on your show. That was really wonderful. And I'm really excited to extend and have you here and really learn about your journey and your journey from, as many of us have done in the past, gone from bridge the gap from the corporate world to being on our own, and this exciting and frightening and hard work and a relief and oh my gosh, all at the same time. But I really love to, we're going to talk about your journey and your business, and then also delve into how the outdoors and how the outside affected that transition too. So you decide where you'd like to go. Tell us a little bit about where you were and how you
It's an interesting journey. Not only the corporate world, self-employment, journey from not knowing who I was and what I wanted into making my life so deep. And it was all a journey from zero. So very multifaceted. And it took about 9 years. And if we didn't know what had to get. I didn't know if it was a career or if it was a marriage or if it was I'll be with you. I was unhappy, but on paper, and figure your job with a fancy outfit. I had it all, but feel like I had it and I remember I was in a bookstore shopping for Christmas and it jumped out at me. And it was called Find Your Star, Lady in the Light. And I had this response to that title. I was like, oh, I want that. And it's by Dr. and I just was like, I'm buying this book. I'm buying it for her. And I took the book home. And I adopted my second grade. And I remember that it was a very strong civil unrest. Something wrong. I didn't know where to go. And you think that adopting your child was like, I didn't know.
And you can't find the answers in the back of the book.
There was not answers in the back of the book. Wouldn't that have been special, right?
Yeah.
And so, I'm looking for the answer in the want ad. Oh, maybe there's another career that's going to spark my life. So I'm looking for the answers by taking a poll amongst people who know me. What do you think I should do, right? That's not where the answers are. But I didn't know that at the time. So mid-chapter 2, I put the book down on the nightstand, didn't pick it up again. Eventually, I was cleaning.
I'm in Amsterdam,
and then the bottom of the cedar chest. So in that 9-year period, I bought the book. So I discovered hard with that. And then he suddenly passed away in his sleep without warning. And usually with kids 3, 5, and 7.
Now your mind desires a vacation.
And then also during those years, I
Joy and fun and plenty of recreation. We'll take it as we have a good time.
And then at my job,
What is it gonna say till old Father Time decides to change? That your mind is requesting
around me, and I had no idea. And then
that it's fine. To the thing that you always want.
so bad right now. Say something just
Many places that you've always wanted to go.
and I had gained 2 pounds.
And to me that sounds better. Doesn't mean happiness for you.
Of course, that time
There is so much in life to feel.
That's a rough road. Even when things are going well, that's a rough road.
My experience can be such a thrill. You feel satisfied. Take a chance and ride. Look at the beauty of the sky.
once again, oh, that's what he was. So now, I take a look at it, after I'm filling out everything. I wanted to tell you, finally ready to be 9 years. I'm sure the universe loves you in many ways until then. And eventually, okay, you're not listening to our nuggets. I'm going to smack you around.
Right. And the body's an amazing thing. And it's going to send messages to you that you had better be receiving.
Loud and clear. So, the next day when I was just working, I was looking up artifacts.
How did she write the book for you?
How did you write the book?
Yeah.
Well, it turns out our organization trained life coaches, and I looked at her website to find a coach that was mine, and I thought, why don't we meet there? That's right.
Well, do you think that you would if you had realized that 9 years before, it probably wouldn't have been the right time to choose your life choice?
I knew that 9 years to become aware of the beauty of the sky. There's no possible way who I am, where I am, helping who I'm helping today. My husband, I know that with certainty.
Mm-hmm.
It's been it's one of those things where some of the very worst things that ever happened to you turn out to be the very best things.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my journey. I started life coaching school 4 days later because I was the second last person admitted into the class. They just only had 2 seats left. And went on that. It was like a year-long journey to become a coach and then, study and certify. A few years later, I applied to become a master coach. And where they train a couple hundred coaches a year, they only select 12 to be in the master coach program. So
wow.
The universe wanted me to do that. I was selected and went on another year-long journey with that to, certify, all the while coaching clients. Mm-hmm. And then my business has morphed as I've realized how my experience helps my clients. It made me very multifaceted. So that's very interesting. When you are a multi-passionate, multifaceted person, we tend to also have the gift of synthesization. We have our fingers and toes into 20 different things at any given time. And so, but we're fast learners. We love to learn. We love to absorb information. And so we absorb something from each of those 10 to 20 places, and then we synthesize that information and apply that knowledge in some way to each of those 10 or 20 places our fingers and toes are in. So it's been a beautiful journey. I've been able to help clients in so many different ways because I have such a vast experience. And there's always something I can bring up that is helpful, in addition to all the tools that I have in my toolbox.
Yeah, and your personal experiences will affect whatever career or whatever job you have, and it can't be discounted. But unfortunately, I think that it's traditional, or it seems normal to discount your personal events when you're in a corporate position, because that's personal, and then this is business, and never the twain should meet. Something interesting that you said. And so when you went through all of this, and when the beginning of that 9-year process, that was really before social media was so much of a thing, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. But you said something that was interesting that, I think a lot of people struggle with, and maybe, I don't know if it's the challenge with social media or whatever that is that, hold on, I have to plug my computer in. You think I would have figured that out before we started? Is that, how we look on the outside is not how we feel on the inside. And right now we can refer that to a social media, your profile and your Instagram account, and everything looks beautiful. And, people are taking pictures of themselves in front of these waterfalls or cliffs just before they fall off and die. But still, they're taking these ridiculous pictures, or they're making their life look so picture perfect. But on the inside, there's so much turmoil.
It's true. One of the things I told my children when they started getting active on social media, and I've shared with many teenagers as well as adults, is be careful to never compare your insides with someone else's outsides.
I love that. Never. Can you say that again? That was really wonderful.
Be very careful never to compare your insides with someone else's outsides.
Wow, that's everything.
Yeah, because what happens is there's a little rhyme: compare and despair. That's what follows. Right? And it makes us feel more alone. It doesn't make us feel like we're in a shared experience. And
and inadequate.
The same way inside.
Yeah, that inadequacy comes in too. Wow, they're so this or they're so that, and then you start to think, well, I'm not any of it, when that's not true.
That's not true at all. That's not true.
Yeah, and that's that love-hate relationship with social media. So
very true.
Yeah, and so, I want to touch on that piece when we get into, as you help clients through. But can you let people know and let the listeners know what somebody has to go through to be a coach? Because there are coaches. There are probably as many coaches as I find as a financial advisor as there are financial advisors, right? And so, but that's not bad. The more you have of something, the more opportunity there is for everyone. And so many people will think, well, why should I be a coach if there's so many coaches? There's no more business left. But it doesn't. The more there is, right?
Yes, there's a couple things about that. One is, I mentor new coaches, and that is one of the first fears that come up. Who am I to be doing this? There's so many other great coaches. Why would anybody ever hire me, right? And it is because of our unique circumstances, that we have stories that through story and our coaching tools, each we can help individuals. And not every person jives with everybody else. And not every person has an experience that someone else has. A person who's looking for a coach wants someone who's been where they are and is where they want to be, right? In some way. So what we're doing as coaches is we are working with former versions of ourselves, and we have so much love for them because we're like, I know you, you're me. Like, I know you.
And you authentically show up.
You authentically show up. This is why you tell your stories. You show your vulnerability. I don't just stick to the coaching tools, and that's not, I when I became a master coach, we had to coach with whatever was in the room. It was part of our final 5-day exam after the year, where like, okay, find something on a table and use it to coach. You've got 5 minutes, go, right? So I'm like picking miniature candy bars up, asking someone to put the boundaries around them where they are and where they want them to be. That counts. That's coaching. But what we can do as coaches is we can take someone as far as we've come. We know the way. We're like Sacagaweas. Come with us. We'll be your guide. Well, we can't go through the wilderness for you, but we can go with you, right? So there's so many different coaching schools. Some have certifications attached, some do not. Some require you to have a mentor, which would be a experienced coach or maybe a master coach, like me, and some do not. So not all education is the same when it comes to learning coaching tools. And some coaching is specifically more narrow for like leadership coaching to coach leaders and executives. And some coaching is more just human oriented, right? And some coaching is group oriented, more team coaching, right? And it's very different. And whatever you are naturally suited to do and that you feel feels like pull as a coach, that's what we do. And true, really good coaches are never in competition with each other because we're all here doing the good work, right? In some way, right? It's like, probably priest or rabbi don't compete with one another. Just like, yeah, come on in somewhere. We'd love to help make a difference in your life, right? So that's how coaches are, and there's a coach for everybody. And it's really finding someone not who promises you everything, but someone who you feel you resonate with, just like you would resonate with a best friend or a new acquaintance, and you feel like, oh my God, I know you, I get you somehow, and you get me, like, I don't know how this happened, I met you like 5 minutes ago, right? That feeling, that's how you know that's the coach for you.
And that's, I love how you said that they resonate with you or you resonate with them. It's a two-way street, so it really has to be both ways. But for me, my ego gets in the way a lot. And I can do this myself. I can do this myself, right? And it took me a really long time to let that attachment and that go and realize that I need a coach. And what happened, which really surprised me, so when I started with my coach, we had our first meeting and I'm like, I don't know what this is supposed to do. I know I need you, but I don't know why. But at the end of our first conversation, it was like this light bulb came on and everything that was murky became clear. And now all of a sudden I knew, this is why maybe some piece of intuition said I needed one right now because of this reason, right? And this is why I needed it. And it brings this level of, you all are so amazing because what you do and you're able to bring out the things in us that are already here, right? And provide clarity and direction. I think everyone needs one once you set yourself to the side like I had to.
Steve Jobs has a video that says everyone should have a life coach because he was so experienced and successful with one as well. But you brought up a really good point about readiness. There was a big point where you weren't ready. And I have this metaphor I use, and I wrote a couple ebooks about it, about being on the island. I have an ebook called Why You Don't Belong on the Island of Playing It Safe. And first of all, because that's not the place from which you can realize your dreams or make your mark on the world and give your gifts. So we get on that island here and there. So where are you on the island? You could be in one of three places. And the places have to do with readiness. And, and you're not going to hire a coach until you're really ready to get off that island. Okay. But in the meantime, you might be what I call an island dweller. And an island dweller is someone who, and I've been there, this is how I'm so familiar with island dwellers, And an island dweller is sitting there saying, there's a jungle surrounding me. I don't want to get up. It feels unsafe to me. Just staying right here. As much as I realize I'm sitting in a pile of muck and I don't like this pile of muck, it's at least familiar. It's less scary. So this is the victim place almost, where like they're hoping and waiting for someone or something else to change. And the something else might be till I'm not as afraid, right? Or it could be circumstances have to change. Something outside of myself have to change. And I was there a very long time. It's the most powerless place there is, because you have no understanding of your own power when you are in this place. Sometimes people know they're in the place, but they say, it's not time for me. I get that I'm settling. Okay, I understand. I know there's something better for me. I know I'm supposed to be doing something and helping myself. But all I can do right now is just sit here in this pile of muck. And when I'm ready, I'll get up. So some people are at that place, but either way, they're island dwellers. They're going to stay in this island for now. Then there's the dock seekers, and they're like, okay, they're the ones who said, wait a minute, I think this pile of muck that I'm sitting in is my own. And I don't want to be hoping and waiting anymore. I want to do something. I want to help myself. So they are in an empowered place, right? I'm going to help myself. So they want to get up and look around the island. Is there a way off? I'm looking for the dock. I am a dock seeker. And the dock seekers are the ones that want to help themselves. They're the ones listening to podcasts. They're the ones watching videos. They're the ones picking up books, making small investments, maybe a $49 course, right? Something like that. Because they say, I'm smart and I want to help myself because I don't want to be the island dweller anymore. I'm helping myself. And so it's a very important rite of passage to be helping yourself first before you ask for help from someone else. So they want to get as far as they want to get on their own. They're smart, they're capable, right? So I spent a lot of years as a dock seeker as well. And then what happens, but the switch that flips between island dweller and dock seeker, it's an internal switch. You know, when I do my marketing, there's no email I can send to flip that switch for somebody. There's no nurturing sequence that's going to do that job. It's an internal switch. When you're ready, you'll feel it. That's how you know, and you've moved to the next stage. Then the dock seekers that have an internal switch that may flip as well. I can't nurture that either. Right? However, when it flips, they become an adventurer. And it flips because either they say, I've done all I can, I've done a lot, I've come a long way, and I'm ready for something more, so I'm ready to learn from an expert and work with an expert. Or they say, I haven't learned all I can, but I'm suddenly impatient, and I don't want to wait any longer. I want it now. In which case, the same switch flips, and they become an adventurer. An adventurer says, you know what, bring it on. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but I feel this responsibility to leave a good legacy for my children, to show them when you want to change, you grab it. I feel this responsibility to give my gifts to the world. I don't know what they are, but I'm ready to know. I want to know my purpose. I want to discover what I'm passionate about. I want to find how that is my purpose, and then I want to be able to package that in a way that can make a mark on the world. And I also, at the same time, because kind of people are my kind of people, are like, and I also want to live a balanced, rewarding life. So I have big things to do, but I don't want to be out of balance while I'm doing these big things. I don't want to be overwhelmed. I don't want to be stressed out, right? So they say that I don't know how to do on my own. Like, I'm smart, I'm capable, but I can't go big and be balanced. Like that seems counterintuitive. I would like to work with an expert, and that's when they'll seek out a coach. So those are like the stages that we go through.
And I think a lot of people can resonate with that. I can see myself in all of those stages, and even just sitting on the dock going, okay, at what point am I going to go, what I'm doing is okay, but it's not catapulting me to where I need to be. It's not efficient. Right. There's almost a lack of balance on the dock.
Yeah,
right?
I think you're right. That's
in that lack of balance, whether the dock is tippy or just that lack of balance, you need something to be able to put everything back into the correct perspective, because you think it's in the right perspective, but you don't really know until you talk it out with somebody or have somebody that's unattached listen to what you say and also listen to what you're not saying.
Very true.
Right?
Very true. Yeah.
So what's your best niche, or how do you help clients the most, in what areas?
Okay, so the who and the how are really unique and different. So the who, I'll give you a mouthful and I'll explain it in pieces. Multi-passionate conscious expanders.
Okay.
Okay.
That is a mouthful.
Isn't it? Okay. So
say it again. Say it again.
Multi-passionate conscious expanders.
Okay.
Okay. So multi-passionate people. Barbara Scheer calls us scanners. If it resonates with you, pick up her book, Refuse to Choose. Okay. A scanner or multi-passionate person is someone who is hardwired to jump from thing to thing. We do not have adult ADD. No, we have a wide, diverse set of interests and passions. Everything seems fun. We don't do it all because we have to do it all. We do it all because we want to do it all. It's all exciting. And we jump from one thing to the next to the next. I actually earlier gave a time management for multi-passionate conscious expanders, webinar. And I said, the reason this is probably your 25th time management webinar or course, isn't it? And they all said yes. I said, if what they were teaching was working, you wouldn't be here. So you must be a multi-passionate conscious expander. So the multi-passionate people are and people. And we want to do this and that and this and that. It all feels like fun. And then the conscious expander people, which is also another type of person, but the people I work with tend to be both. Conscious expanders are people, like everyone's growing and learning and failing forward. We all do that. But conscious expanders are deliberate. We are deliberately expanding. We are expanding. We are hungry for more. We are expanding emotionally. We are expanding mentally. We are expanding spiritually. We are expanding our impact on the world. We're expanding our knowledge. So we are more kind of people. More kind of people want more joy, more life in our life, more impact in the world, right? We want to do more, be more, and have more of those things that light us up. And so now when you're an and person and you're a more person, there's a unique set of challenges. And the people who I work with feel that weight of responsibility of getting their gift out into the world in some way. They feel it, and it's like Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility. And they're like, darn, I've been trying to, dodge this bigness inside of me for years, and it's starting to catch up with me, and I know I'm going to have to do something about it. But sometimes they don't know how or what it is, because like when I was in the corporate life, I was only basically, left brain. Like everything was like, oh, what could I do? I can make a heck of a spreadsheet. Whoa, you should see how good I am with spreadsheets and finance and computers. And I was a programmer for a while. So I did all that cerebral stuff. And it wasn't until I left the corporate world that I gave my right brain permission to turn on and recognized that I'm pretty equal left and right brain, and that creativity. And, I needed to turn that on in order to find what I was passionate about and in order to land on my purpose, right? So it's a really interesting way that this happens. So the people that I work with have something important to give the world. I've worked with world-class musicians, famous musicians that travel the world. I've worked with physicians. So I've worked with graduate students who feel like that they have something big, young. I've worked with mayors, right? So like it's not a demographic at all. It's that something inside them they know it has to get out. And how I do it is as diverse as the people that I work with. I use straight coaching tools often. I have made my own.
What is a straight coaching tool?
Like a coaching tool that I would have learned, like The Work by Byron Katie. That's like a pretty famous one that people might know about. So that is amazing. That's when I self-coach. That's the tool I use. It's an incredible tool. I use metaphor tools. I use a dream analysis tool, things that I learned in coaching school and in master coaching school. So I use those, and that's pure coaching. However, I'm a teacher at heart. So I teach as well. And I'm a public speaker, and my workshops are immersive. You don't just sit and listen. You got to do, because you got to go within. It's like that book. If you don't answer the questions, I can't help you. The answer's in you. And my job is to shine my bright, shiny light
on the, inner recesses of your inner wisdom so that you can see what's in the corners. It's all there. It's all inside you, right? So that's part of it. But then also the other way that I also help people is I've been a ghostwriter for a book. Let me help you get your gift to the world. You don't know how to write, or you're not good at writing. I'll pull it out. I'll write. You talk, I'll write, So I've done things like that. I have tricked people into starting their business plan because I had a client who had a benefactor.
You tricked them.
Yes, who had a benefactor who said, I'm going to give you this much money to do this artistic project you want to do, but I need to see your business plan and how I'm going to get my money back. So he sat on this for like a year because he was like, I don't know how to do a business plan. I'm an artist. How do I know how to do a business plan? I'll hire someone to do it. And I said, nobody can do it for you, and he didn't like that answer. And so I asked him, it was about cutting a CD, right? Producing a CD. And I said, so, why do you want to cut a CD? And he started lighting up. And of course, I record all my client sessions to give to them to listen to. And he's lit up, and he talked about it for 5 minutes. And I recorded the start and end time of when he talked about it. So that's fantastic. And when the CD's all done, where would you like the music to be? Do you want it in commercials and movies? Like where? He lit up. He started talking for another 5 minutes. I recorded the start and end time. And then I gave him his homework. I said, your homework is from this time to that time. That is your mission statement. And your homework from this time to that time, that is your vision statement. So you write both of those up, and that's the first thing you do with the business plan, and then we'll work on the rest next time. So fantastic. I tricked him into it. Right?
Yeah, because if you had said, okay, we're going to talk about a business plan, and you asked those same questions, the answers would not have been so emotional.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
That's really great.
Yeah. And so, how do I help my clients? How don't I? I actually did a software implementation for a not-for-profit that I'm on the board for. And that's how I help them give their gift to the world, because I was a programmer and an analyst, and I know how to do that. So you can be a client too, right? So, it's so interesting. How do I help my clients get their gift out into the world and make their impact in whatever way is needed? And because I'm a multi-passionate conscious expander, I know how to do a lot of diverse, seemingly unrelated things. So,
and you're not a quitter.
Oh, no. Tenacity and resilience are gifts that people who have gifts to give to the world tend to have. So we got that. And there's no giving up. I didn't start life coaching school thinking, maybe I'll be a coach. I hope it works out. No. 2 months into training, I quit my 6-figure job. My parents thought I was nuts because I'm, supporting 3 kids on my own. Like, what do you mean you quit your job? I'm like, well, I'm going to be a coach, and I don't have enough capacity to work full time, be a single mom, and learn a brand new career that I know I'm going to rock at. Like, I don't have time to do all of that. There's no capacity. Something's got to give, and the corporate job's going to be given anyway, so might as well jump ship now. And it's like that bird who goes out on the limb, not because it trusts the limb not to break, but because it trusts its wings to fly. I said, I was 45 years old at the time, and I looked back and I said, when I got out of college, I had one asset that was a piece of crap car worth about $800, no jobs, no job. All I had was a college degree and an $800 car. That's it. And the world was my oyster. And I was like, I trusted myself. I'm like, I could do anything. And here I am, 45. I used to be younger and stupider. I am older, I am more experienced, and look what I've already accomplished, how far I've come, how much I've amassed. And that is a question that people need to ask themselves. How far have I come? What have I, brought into fruition in this world? Let's pull from that. That's where when you recognize just how strong you are and what you're capable of. And that's how you trust your wings to fly.
That's wonderful. And, I think that we're all so conditioned, right? You go to school, get an education, and get a good job. And then you have a job, and then you go to find another job. It's probably going to be very similar to what you were doing before, maybe a little different, but it is always that mindset of working for somebody else. But it's so difficult to make that much of a difference when you're working for somebody else's concept or somebody else's idea. You're not able to spread what you need to do within the confines of that job, right?
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Because the goals aren't set by you. They're set by somebody else. And they're not because of a need that's near and dear to your heart, most likely, that you can fill. So it's not as rewarding. And also, I've had many clients who knew they wanted a job change. Like they knew they felt like it's got to change. I can't do this anymore. And they thought they were pigeonholed. I only know this. I like work with an attorney. I can only do this. Are you sure? So we can deep dive into the skills behind it to find how else, once you know what those skills behind it are and who you are, then how else can you apply it? Or in one case, I had a woman executive she's the only woman on the floor. And she felt that she was not treated equally. And she was at the executive level. She was not a peon, or saying, oh, the boys club, She was real. She had worked her way up this corporation, and she got to where she, was meant to be. That's why she was promoted there. But yet she felt this inequities. She felt as if she wasn't really included. She was like odd woman out, right? And she came to me because she said, I can't do this anymore. I dread going to work every single day. I don't know. I don't know what it is. What do I do? Right. So we started working together, trying to help her discover her what's next, or find your wow, I call it. And the path to finding your wow is you start with yourself. So you have to discover who you are now and what you want now. And so we start there. And then coaching is a reductive process. We're removing what's unneeded. We got to get rid of the schmutz so your inner light can shine. So as we're removing the schmutz and repairing her sense of worthiness and all the other beautiful things that coaches help people do, she started to see herself differently. So she started to show up differently. And all of a sudden, these male executives started asking for her opinion. They started wanting her advice. They started running things by her. They stopped giving her the crap part, And she came to me, and she said, I love my job. And what she recognized, the change I needed wasn't a career change. It was a change within myself.
An inner change. And how she viewed herself.
And how she saw herself and how she showed up, which is a result of how you see yourself and how you feel about yourself.
That's interesting.
And also, there's also a component of once you understand yourself, you can naturally understand others way better than you ever have. And you can change a relationship without the other person even knowing you're doing anything or changing themselves. You can take a relationship to go from stressful to wonderful without the other person changing, just by getting to know yourself, because then you get to know other people. When you get to know yourself, you give yourself a break, you give other people a break. You understand what makes you tick, you start to understand what makes them tick. It's a beautiful process.
That's fantastic. And so tell me what the importance of the outdoors and in your transition and how it helped you going through so many difficult times and how that's transitioned to now.
So I think something's in my blood. When I was a little girl, I just wanted to be in the woods. I always wanted to be in the woods. I'd go off by myself, or climb a tree, be in the tree. I don't want to be under the tree. I want to be in the tree. So there's always been something about nature. And I would go camping when I was a little kid. Summer camp, parents would send you away. I wanted the outward bound one. I wanted the one with the backpack and the tent and, making your own stuff and just the smell of the woods after the rain. Like there was just something that's always been there. But when I moved, past college and, through college and into my adulthood life, I really lost touch with nature because I was going to the city. I was driving to walking on the concrete, coming back home, you make dinner, and, maybe once in a while take the kids to the park. But, it wasn't so, I didn't have the time, I didn't have the capacity, I didn't have the energy to do anything more. And then when my husband died, we had some cottages that we rented out at the lake, and I decided to make it our own house for me and the kids for our healing. So we would spend the weekends there, and I would just go to the beach and listen to that water and just sit there. And I wanted to go when no one was at the beach. I want to go when I was all alone. I'd take the kids and we'd sit on the lifeguard tower and we'd watch the sunset and just be quiet, maybe a couple seagulls. And I would just sit there, and it was really amazing for my healing when my husband passed away. And then when I got the courage up to quit my job, I realized that I had been on go, probably since kindergarten, right? When does it stop? Did it stop in between there? No, here I was 45 years old. And I was like, I think it might need to stop. And I'm in school, but it's not full day long school for becoming a coach. You know, it's a couple days a week for about an hour and a half, and then some homework and studying. So I spent a lot of days just sitting, you know, on the porch with my toes in the grass. I would take walks for no reason at all. I just get in my car, drive to a big park, take walks. That whole summer, I took so many pictures of just my feet in the background, whatever I could see. Here I was by the lake. Here I was, you know, by this pond. Here I was in this, by these trees, you know, and I experienced that spaciousness that I had been craving, that freedom that I needed so much, that ease, that, you know, everything that was the opposite of how I was feeling, you know, before. And I found it all in nature. And to this day, I get outside probably 5 or 6 days a week. We took a beautiful hike, 3-mile hike the other day, up and down some woods, and we got a little lost, but all the trails eventually get you out. You know, it was only supposed to be 1.5 miles, turned out to be 3. Whatever, it was fine. You know, and you know, I've now almost all of our vacations. I've been with John for almost 13 years. So yeah, we're together, and we love nature. He's a nature photographer, and we just get out all the time. The vistas, we've, you know, been to Utah, New Mexico. We just like get out, get around, take photos, and just and take walks every single day. Like, we're always out there, and it is what part of the balance, and it gives me that smell. Still brings me. I'm like, I still love this. I'm still a nature baby.
There's a reset that happens, isn't there?
A complete reset. And sometimes when I'm like frenetically working, blah, 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 and it's like, oh, it's 4:00, we're going for a walk. And I'm like, oh, I really want to just finish this. All right, I'll go for the walk. And I don't want to. I'm like a little aggravated, like, oh, I didn't finish my thing, right? And then we get there, and I'm like, hey, what's going on?
It changes. It changes, and that reset is really important. It's funny because a couple of weeks ago, I went on vacation for 2 weeks, and we were go, and a lot of it was lots of city walking. And I'm not a city person, so it was kind of fun to experience the city, but you don't realize how much of that city energy you're absorbing. And we were almost done. We only had a couple of days left in the trip, and we were in the city, and then all of a sudden just ended up in this huge park. And I walked into the park, and it took my breath away. We were covered with trees, and I couldn't believe how much city energy I had absorbed, and it was just almost frantic, right? And I stepped into the park, and it brought me to tears. I was like, oh my gosh, it was a reset button that I didn't recognize that I needed. So amazing.
Yeah, you know, what you kind of brought up is everyone's a little bit empathic. We're all sponges in some way of other people's energy, you know, just of energy. We're energetic beings. And if you are a more highly empathic person, it's very hard to not absorb the energy of other people. And so when you're in a city where it's bustle, 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 even when people are excited about what they're doing, it's a very high buzz, right? And you're absorbing that high buzz, and it can be exhausting. And you
don't realize how much you are until something resets.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah. But then you go into nature, and that's got a different energy. You know, you're absorbing that. And that is a very beautiful energy. That's the space, because we cannot solve the puzzles we need to solve at the time we realize it's a puzzle, because we're in a certain mindset. We can't do it from there, because if we could, it wouldn't have been a puzzle. It would have already been solved. We just can't do it from there. We need to invoke our imagination, our creativity. We need to give ourselves some space. And so we can solve puzzles by taking the time out and getting into nature. And if you want to slow down your mind, like I say, I love listening to music, but let me give my attention to the nature instead of the music right now. So I don't listen to anything when I'm in nature. I listen to the nature. And
me too.
It's amazing if you say, I wonder how many layers of sound I hear and you start focusing on that. How many different shades of green do I see right now, or tan, or blue do I see right now? What is the smell? Like, you invoke all your senses, you know, and it will ground you in a way that all those thoughts will just let go of you. You cannot have monkey mind when you are engaging your five senses.
Yeah,
no
I like
mind.
that.
There's no room for monkey mind.
There's no room, yeah. And when I hike, I don't listen to podcasts. I don't listen to music. Just like you said, it is how many birds, you know, how many birds are singing and what's going on. And to be honest, a few weeks ago, I wouldn't have heard the mountain lion screech at me if I had something in my ears.
Oh, mine! Holy cow!
That was a fun experience. So, but that's a whole other story. So, so when you're meeting with clients, it's virtual and in person, or mostly virtual?
Mostly virtual, because I work with people all over the world.
I was going to ask you that. I figured so.
Yeah. I had an office. I've had 3 or 4 different office spaces before COVID. And so, you know, I'd have my local clients I'd always see in person. And I still can. I have a home office that's big. It's got a couch and a piano in it. So my home office is pretty big. I can still see my clients, you know, in person, but I work with people all over the world. So yeah, Zoom's been the thing even pre-COVID, and I should have bought stock. I knew it. And
yeah. Not the first time I heard that.
Yeah. I'd been using it for a couple of years before, so I already knew it was amazing.
So how do people find you?
Oh, well, that's pretty easy. My website is lindabucher.com, so LINDABUCHER.com, and I have a contact us form, page on that website. So if someone wants to send me a little note and they want to talk with me for half an hour, we can set up a chat. That's no problem. So that's probably the easiest way to get a hold of me.
Perfect. And we'll make sure we put all of your contact information, your social media information in the show notes as well. And but I want to really thank you so much for being here today and sharing your story and sharing your passion for what you do. It's been really impactful.
Thank you for the opportunity to let me tell my story and tell a little bit about what I do and who I do it for. And I hope in some small way I've, invoked a change in someone today for the positive, inspired or something. So thank you.
Get somebody on the dock or make them decide to get off the dock.
Maybe they can feel they're ready. Yeah.
So thank you so much today, Linda. I appreciate your time.
You're welcome. Thank you.
You're welcome. And so now we transition to Lynn and her Rising Up segment. So Lynn, what wonderful words do you have to share with us today?
Wow, Jean, what a great episode of Discover Rising Tides today. I've been sitting here listening and enjoyed so much everything Linda said. I just absolutely feel like I've just had this huge, wonderful gift given to me listening to you guys today. So thank you for my being here and getting this opportunity. I want to talk today about color. Linda just mentioned a couple of minutes ago about going into nature with your senses open. And I've been thinking a lot about color. I live in Kentucky, and this time of year, there is a predominant color. It's everywhere, but color's everywhere anyway, right? And it's easy to take color for granted, I think, because it's everywhere. And so there's no doubt, too, that color has a profound effect on us, right? We could read studies about that, but none of us need to. We've probably all had that experience of feeling low energy on a gray day. I almost said a gloomy day, right? Because that's how we talk about a gray day. But no matter where we live or where we visit, there are colors in the natural environment. And so this past week, we had a lot of rain in Kentucky, and I opened my window and was just stunned by the green. All of a sudden, it was so green outside. And green is one of those colors, it represents vibrant life. And the word that came to mind when I opened my window that day was lush. It was just abundant and lush. And green is a representation of growth and healthy growth, right? And it just made me feel so motivated. I felt so invigorated. And I remembered, I have a cousin who lives in New Mexico, and she came one year in July to visit me in Kentucky. Well, July is a particularly green time. And she was like, how is it so green? Right? And it just really affected her. And she really noticed it coming from the colors of the desert. So we all know what that means, the colors of the desert, the colors of the beach, the colors of the mountains. And then there are different mountains. You know, my home mountains are the Blue Ridge, and they look different than the colors of the Rockies and all of that. And so, you know, I invite you this week to just notice the colors of nature around you. Just ask yourself, what do they mean to you? Just like what the green brought up for me, I felt invigorated. I felt motivated. What is color saying to you this week? And then when is it inspiring the good stuff, right? When is it inspiring you to feel gratitude and happiness and growth? And so I just invite our listeners to ask yourself the question, how is color speaking to you this week? I hope that helps with rising up. I hope that it's part of how the outside makes the inside better. Thank you so much, Jean, for having me. I love being a part of our podcast here. Wonderful today.
I love it. And I everything green, it's funny, I can't even make a sentence now because all I can think about is green. And here in California, things are starting to turn to the dry side, and the green is disappearing. And I realize how important it is in the spring here, and it just means new life. And I agree. So thank you. Thank you, as always. Thank you for sharing. And thank you to everyone for listening today. As usual, you can find this show as well as all of our previous shows on Discover Rising Tides website, as well as the Discover Rising Tides YouTube station. I want to thank all the listeners. And if you have any questions, feel free. If you'd like to be on the show, we're always looking for guests. If you are a women business owner and you need the outdoors to maintain your life balance, please reach out. We will be more than happy to talk to you and about your business. I want to thank Linda today for our show. And everybody have a really great afternoon.
Rising tide,